Hey there.
Hey there.
How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. Cameron, nice to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Hey, you done many of these before?
I've done a lot of interviews over the year. I haven't really done any podcasts or too many video interviews.
Gotcha. Well, you have a face made for video, so
Oh, well, thank
don't
you.
worry about it. And you set up very well there. Looks good.
Well, appreciate it.
You're
I'm
welcome.
hoping that I'm hoping there's not too much sound from people in adjoining offices.
Hey, Cameron, it means you guys are working. You're busy.
Yep.
You got a festival in a few days. It should be a little noisy there. I don't mind that at all.
Okay. Good.
Yeah. In fact, we'll edit in some background noise
Perfect.
just to emphasize how busy you guys are.
Yeah.
Well, I imagine though the crux of the intensity is behind. Right now, it's just a whole lot of little fires and things of that nature.
Yeah, and so this is I want to say it's my 8th
Wow.
festival on staff. Of course, I've been around for longer than that. I was press, I was a member, I was part of the screening committee, I was, just different stuff before I was ever on staff. And yeah, every year's a little different. And this year especially is different from last year, which of course was postponed.
Did you guys end up not having a festival last year?
We did have a festival, yeah.
It was pushed back. Okay.
Right. So the last day in the office was, I think, March 12th. I think that was a lot of last days in the office around the country. But our festival was supposed to be April. I can't remember even now. I think it was supposed to be the end of April, the beginning of May. And so we, of course, we were getting ready. We were actually the day before we had to kind of postpone the festival, we were having a programming lockdown where the whole staff was in our conference room together, and we were going through, the programmers were walking us through all the selections of the festival just so that we could all be familiar. And it wasn't something that we had ever really done before. We were trying to make an effort so that the whole staff could be on the same page, And then of course the world fell apart, and we had to move the festival. So we ended up having a drive-in and virtual festival in September, which was very strange for us because a lot of us have been on staff for quite a while, and we've always been kind of a spring festival. When I started, we were early March, and then we kind of slowly moved to April and then closer to May, which I feel like suits us pretty well. And so, yeah, we ended up doing this about 6 or 7 months ago. But it was so different from the previous festival, and this festival is different from that one because we are back having in-person screenings again, limited, but yeah, so it's, everything's different.
Right, of course, and next year will be different too.
Yeah, for sure.
What's nice is, I guess, is that you were able to pull off the festival. So this is the 45th Atlanta Film Festival and Creative Conference in 45 years. So you didn't have to somehow go back and monkey with the numbers.
Yeah. Maybe we'll take a breather. Just kidding. We won't.
You are the associate director of the festival. So you've been, as you said, on staff for this is your 8th festival, but and you've had a relationship though with the festival going back even longer. So it's a real relationship for you, right? This is like.
It is. It's by far my longest relationship, I'd say. Yeah, I think I started attending in 2007 when I was just a poor college student who opened up the newspaper and was like, Atlanta has a film festival, which of course Atlanta
Yeah.
had a film festival for 30 something years at that point. I was just learning about it. And I remember I went and saw La Vie en Rose with Marianne Cotillard, where she won her
Sure.
Oscar. I saw that back then the festival, I think, was in early June.
Right.
Um, and I was hooked. It just got me in. And so it wasn't until 2014 was my first festival on staff. So yeah, I've been there quite a while.
Yeah, I mean festivals. I think not to get too sidetracked, but film festivals are kind of like, yeah, it's a subculture essentially. If
Mm-hmm.
you're not a filmmaker or somehow tangential to that,
Mm-hmm.
most people, other than a couple of exceptions, obviously everybody knows of Cannes and of there's obviously a handful of festivals that everybody's kind of aware of, maybe the New York Film Festival, a few others, but um, you don't realize just how many there are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's changing. I think that's changing, and we could have this conversation another time. But I feel like film festivals have been filling in the gap in terms of seeing live screenings, meeting other people, the directors and possibly cast members, that type of thing, in real, in person, IRL, and then where, because even in the best of times, distribution has becoming more and more difficult, for so
Mm-hmm.
many films. But so in Atlanta, for over the years, I've been wanting to get down there, Cameron, because the reputation is pretty terrific for this festival,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm really just thrilled that finally, even though it has to be done virtually, that I'm able to attend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll talk about it. You got 188 films. By the way, right now, as people listen, tickets are currently available already.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
just talk about that. Like sometimes festivals, you have to buy the badge. You have to
Mm-hmm.
buy a badge for X amount, and it gives you the opportunity to see pretty much anything you want, but it's a bigger investment. But here you're selling paper, you're selling, a la carte, I guess.
Yeah. So traditionally, we've always been both a badge and a ticket festival. So you can attend one event and pay, just a regular ticket, or you can get a badge and have access to all sorts of stuff. And our festival is largely pre-COVID. Had a lot of social events. We're all about Southern hospitality, and Atlanta's a good time city. So we had lots of parties, lots of hangouts, lots of mixers and networking events. And of course, with restrictions and just common sense, we're not having that this year. So our badge system, we've adjusted just because the needs for that are a little less. So you still can get a badge. But tickets, I mean, that's the way I've attended many festivals, or just individual tickets. You can, for our indoor screenings, we're using the famous Plaza Theater in Atlanta, which is the longest the oldest continually operating movie theater in the city. It's the only minority-owned movie theater in the city. So we have pod seating set up. So every pod is at least 7 feet away from the nearest pod. So it's safe. They're cleaned and changed out in between screenings. There's ionization in the theater for air filtration. There's all these different things in place to make it a safe experience for everyone.
Right. Yeah.
So a pod has up to 4 seats. So if you buy one ticket, that closes out the pod. If you bring 3 people with you, y'all can all sit in the same pod. So yeah, it's it's a little different. It takes a little bit to wrap your head around. It's similar with drive-in screenings. You pay X amount if there's only one person in your car. If it's just you going to see this movie, you pay a little more, but less per person if there's 2 people in your car than if there's 3 people in your car. So yeah, you can, if you just want to see one film and you kind of filling it out. I know film festivals for the layperson are kind of hard to understand. I like to explain them like a music festival, since people kind of have more of a grasp on that. I think they're kind of higher in the public consciousness than film festivals. But at a music festival, there'll be several different stages set up across different days and different artists playing different times. It's the same way with us. We've got several different venues screening different movies, and you can come for one or you can stay for more. And that's where the badge kind of comes in handy. Is if you're going to be seeing
As
a
an
lot,
immersive experience. Yeah.
And then virtually, it's super easy. We use Eventive as our platform, so you can watch, on your TV, you can watch on your computer, you can watch on your phone. And our virtual tickets, I think, are mostly $9.99. So that's kind of a steal for some of these movies.
The badge gives you an immersive experience, though,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a just a kind of a kind of an empowering feeling of being able to walk in, to see anything you want. But one other thing that does separate a festival, and I believe you do have it's a competition festival, correct? So you have you have jury awards.
We
and
do.
you have audience awards.
We do. Mm-hmm.
So therefore, the nice part about being a festival attendee is you actually participate in that, which is nice. You get to vote on the films you like the most, and you get to provide filmmakers with their laurels, which helps films. I mean, it's essential also for filmmakers to make it into festivals. Awards are extremely helpful for creating momentum for a film, which can lead to distribution, etc.
Yeah. So, awards and laurels are kind of like, if your film is a Christmas tree, these are the decorations, so the more you have, the more extravagant, the more beautiful, the more striking it is, which is going to help it, of course, appeal to distributors and other people that want to watch your film down the road. But then also, so our jury awards, all three of our short film categories, so narrative feature, doc feature, and animated feature, are all Academy Award qualifying. We're one of only, I want to say, a handful of festivals in the country and more around the world that are Oscar qualifying in all three categories. So that's really exciting for us, and it's I know it's something that all of our jurors every year are kind of thinking about.
I didn't take that into consideration.
Yeah,
I forgot that Atlanta is a qualifying festival. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and then our audience award. I know I work for the festival, but I'm always voting. I always cast a ballot for my favorite film as well, because it's empowering as a viewer to be kind of on seeing something before anyone else is going to see it, because that's really what the festival is. It's pre-gaming for the traditional theatrical market. So like a few years ago, for instance, we had The Farewell as our opening night film. Lulu Wang and Aquafina were in attendance, and it was an incredible experience, and I love that film. It ended up winning kind of in a landslide our audience award, and so getting to see A24 share those laurels of Atlanta Film Festival audience award was, that was a pretty great feeling,
Yeah, and you can see the direct pipeline from the Atlanta Film Festival to the major award. I mean, I know when the Spirits, right, did it, right? It was Oscar nominated.
I don't think it was. I was pretty salty about it. I wanted it in Best Picture, Director, Actress, Screenplay, Supporting Actress, Music, but it did very well at the Indie Spirit Awards, and I think the Gotham Awards it did really well.
Probably, yeah. Well, I'm always deliberating whether or not I should get into specific films, because there's certainly not time to cover all 188 features and shorts and everything. However, so I don't like to play favorites. But you do have an opening night film and a closing night film, so I guess we could touch on that as we, maybe wind it down a little bit. But because I know from reading the press release that you really have an intention of keeping this interesting kind of balance in the films you program and that you select for those two nights.
Yeah, so just in general, I feel like our identity as a film festival is a filmmakers film festival. So we've never had kind of a large famous celebrity benefactor or a high profile. I mean, Atlanta's obviously
like
a high profile city, but
like a Robert De Niro or a
like Robert De Niro with Tribeca or Robert Redford with Sundance.
Redford, I've heard of him. Yeah.
So it's like, well, we're probably never going to crack that top tier of Sundance, TIFF, Cannes, stuff like that. But we are a resource to our filmmakers and to indie filmmakers, and that's the type of films we want to always be accessible to indie filmmakers and film lovers. So while we do love to kind of showcase all types of films, from indie stuff that comes from submissions that, unfortunately may never find a wide audience, all the way to studio films from distributors that are already being marketed and awaiting theatrical release. So some of our marquee titles are like that. So our opening night film and our closing night film are really good examples of this. So our opening night film is called Socks on Fire. It actually won the Tribeca Best Documentary Jury Prize last year, except it never screened because Tribeca never ended up holding their festival. But I think it finally makes its world premiere in San Francisco, or maybe it just made it at the San Francisco Film Festival. But we're so excited to play them. We were going to play them last year, and then of course they kind of pulled back and didn't end up playing Tribeca. But it comes from a filmmaker named Beau McGuire, who I don't know if you're familiar with him, but he's a straight up star. He's actually from this small town in Alabama, just down the road from where my dad is from, Hoax Bluff, which I feel like, some towns you hear the name and you know all that you need to know about that town, and Hoax Bluff must be one of them. But it's kind of a love letter to his grandmother, as there's kind of this familial war going on between his aunt and his uncle, who is a drag queen. So it's very poetic. It's Beau's kind of narrating it, but there's this cast of characters, some of whom are real, like playing themselves, and some of whom are actors. So Odessa Young, who was in Shirley with Elizabeth Moss last year, she's in the film.
Oh, sure. Joseph Decker's film. Yeah.
And so Socks on Fire is very much an indie film. It's very much a Southern film. It's very much kind of the type of film that we just always cling to. And but of course we have Beau's gonna be in attendance for opening night, which normally we have this big grand party and everything, and this year of course we can't. But we are having performances preceding the film from drag superstars, Rakim Sakura among them, other names to be announced. So I feel like this is a very indie film that is making a very big, splashy Hollywood type of premiere for us. And then our closing night film is kind of the opposite. It comes to us from a studio, or from a distributor, IFC, and it stars Eric Bana, and it's like it's an Australian production. It's called The Dry, but it's a very kind of Hollywood crime mystery, like very professional film. And I watched it and I just fell in love with it. It opened New Year's Day in Australia, and it's already broken some box office records because it's been so well received.
And by Robert Connolly.
Robert Connolly was the writer director, and it's just it couldn't be more different than Socks on Fire. And I love when we're able to kind of have bookends that are so opposite, because we show it all and we love it all.
Can you just say something briefly about the creative conference component? Because that's, I know, taking place all virtually this year.
Yeah. So last year we actually, when we were forced to go virtual for the creative conference, we had just a great time with that. And we were like, oh, well, we can't wait to do it virtually. Maybe from now on, who knows what the world's going to be like next year, and maybe, it will return to some in-person capacity. But for now, we really enjoy having it virtual, so people can just kind of watch it at their own leisure. They can absorb as much as they can, because they'll have, they don't just have to show up in person during the day. It used to take place Monday through Friday, like 9 to 5 kind of. So, if you couldn't get off work, or if, maybe you weren't a film professional, but you're trying to get into it and you have a kind of a regular day job, then there might be some conflicts for you. But also the fact that doing it virtually and pre-recording a lot of it allows us to have a lot kind of greater reach of talent. So we're able to get people that for them to be a part of the panel, we don't have to fly them to Atlanta now, which makes them more available and more willing to do it. So I think we have about 40 different, I'm not sure the exact number, I should be, but 40-ish panels and masterclasses and workshops, everything from David Diggs and Rafael Casal talking about their new series Blind Spotting, which the film that it's based on was our opening night film, I think 3 years ago. They're back. We have a stunts panel that just recorded. I'm really excited about, because stunts, I'm part of the Oscars Need to Add a Stunt category team. I know the SAG Awards are the only high profile stunt category in the awards industry. But I think there needs to be more attention to that, and more exposure to the great work that our stunt people do.
Okay.
There's all sorts of stuff. There's something for everyone at Creative Conference, and our director of the Creative Conference, Linda Burns, she's an industry vet. She's been here for just decades, working in Atlanta, even way before the tax credits. And so she's just got a real grasp on who we are and who Atlanta is in the industry. And then I think that really spills over into these great panels.
And how do you see those panels? Do you also have to buy tickets for those? How did that work?
Yeah, so there you can get individual tickets, or you can get, one of our like virtual badge options. I think we also have a 6-ticket pass. So if you're, kind of in between, oh, maybe I just want to do one or two things, or do I want to get full access? Maybe this is the right step. But they're all they're on the same platform as the virtual films, so it's all through Eventive, and it's super easy.
Ask your boss to pay for it first. Just try.
Yeah, ask your boss to pay for it. And
right,
an education write-off.
Yeah. Well, again, it's the 45th Atlanta Film Festival Creative Conference from Thursday, April 22nd through Sunday, May the 2nd. 188 films and panels and more. Mm-hmm. And did you also, were you able to do Q&As or for the virtual, or do you?
I'm not sure if we're doing virtual Q&As this year. I know we've made an effort to kind of enhance available information about the filmmakers. Like on the virtual platforms, you can always read about the filmmakers on there. There's probably going to be some recorded Q&As, and then of course for the in-person and drive-in screenings, we're anticipating some talent that's going to be making it into town, or some of the local talent that will be doing live Q&As.
Right, you'll be able to honk your horn at
right. Yeah, actually we've gotten in trouble with some of the honking. Some of our screens late at night
they're in town. You're in town,
so we encourage flashing lights.
Oh, very good, because you're in town. Because the ones I'm up in the Hudson Valley now, and I went to the Woodstock Film Festival in the fall. Also had virtual. They had a drive-in, and I attended. And there, you were in the middle of nowhere, so it's like honk away. Nobody's gonna have any problem. But it's a nice experience for you got a car, or just gang with some other bubble and experience it. It's a fun way to see the movie.
For sure.
Cameron McAllister is the associate director of the Atlanta Film Festival. This was great. Thank you. And unless I left something out, or you wanted to mention anything else, I think we covered a lot. But
no, I appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Okay, we'll do this again sometime.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Adam.
You bet. Have a good day.
You too.